Welcome, thrill seekers, to a world of spine-chilling tales and hair-raising adventures. Gather around for a frightful journey into the unknown as we delve deep into the realm of scary stories. Buckle up, hold on tight, and get ready to experience a rush of terror like never before. It was a dark and stormy night, the kind of night that made you want to curl up in bed and forget the outside world. But for four friends, the night was just beginning. They had gathered together for a weekend of camping, eager to escape the stress of their everyday lives. The campsite was nestled deep in the woods, miles away from civilization. It was peaceful and quiet, the perfect place to unwind and forget the outside world. But as the night wore on, they began to notice strange things happening around them. At first, it was just little things, like the sound of twigs snapping in the darkness or the rustling of leaves in the wind. But soon, they started to hear whispers, voices that seemed to come from nowhere. The friends tried to laugh it off, telling each other that it was just their imagination playing tricks on them. But as the night wore on, the voices grew louder and more insistent. They decided to explore the woods, hoping to find the source of the whispers. But as they walked deeper into the forest, they began to feel like they were being watched. They could hear footsteps crunching on the leaves, but when they turned around, there was no one there. The storm had picked up by now, and the wind was howling through the trees. The friends tried to find their way back to the campsite, but they soon realized that they were lost. As they stumbled through the darkness, they came across a clearing. In the center of the clearing was an old, abandoned cabin. It was dilapidated and covered in vines, but there was something about it that drew them in. They cautiously approached the cabin, their hearts pounding in their chests. The door creaked open as they pushed it aside, revealing a dark, musty interior. As they stepped inside, they could feel a chill in the air. The cabin was filled with dust and cobwebs, and the floorboards creaked beneath their feet. Suddenly, the friends heard a loud thud, followed by a high-pitched scream. They rushed towards the sound, hoping to find one of their friends. But what they found was far worse. In the corner of the room, they saw a figure huddled in the darkness. It was a woman, dressed in rags and covered in filth. She was muttering to herself, her eyes wide with fear. The friends tried to approach the woman, but she started screaming at them. Her voice was hoarse and guttural, like she hadn't spoken in years. As they backed away, they noticed that there was something strange about the woman's eyes. They were black, completely devoid of light or emotion. Suddenly, the cabin was filled with a deafening roar. The walls shook, and the floorboards groaned beneath their feet. It was like a giant hand was pushing down on the cabin, trying to crush them beneath its weight. The friends ran towards the door, but it wouldn't budge. It was like it was sealed shut, trapping them inside the cabin. As they huddled together in fear, they heard the whispers again. The voices were louder now, more insistent. They could hear the words, but they couldn't make sense of them. The woman in the corner was still screaming, her eyes fixed on something in the darkness. And then, they saw it too. It was a shadow, moving across the room. It was like a living thing, twisting and writhing in the darkness. The friends tried to run, but they couldn't escape. The shadow was everywhere, closing in on them from all sides. And then, they felt it. It was like a cold, clammy hand reaching out to grab them. It was like nothing they had ever felt before, a sensation of pure dread that filled them with terror. They screamed and shouted, but their voices were drowned out by the howling wind and the roaring shadow. The darkness seemed to swallow them whole, and they felt like they were drowning in an endless sea of fear. As suddenly as it had begun, the shadow vanished. The wind died down, and the cabin was plunged into an eerie silence. The friends were too frightened to move. They huddled together, their hearts pounding in their chests. And then, they heard the whispers again. This time, they were clearer, more distinct. "The curse lives on," the whispers said. "The curse of the forgotten asylum." The friends realized that they had stumbled upon something far more sinister than they could have ever imagined. They had uncovered the remnants of an old asylum, a place where the forgotten and the deranged had been sent to die. As they tried to find their way out of the cabin, they discovered that they were not alone. There were other spirits, other lost souls, trapped in the decaying walls of the asylum. They saw the shadows moving in the darkness, the flicker of ghostly apparitions out of the corner of their eyes. They heard the screams and the whispers, the moans of the forgotten. The friends tried to escape, but the curse had taken hold. They were trapped in the asylum, unable to leave. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. The friends had become prisoners in the decaying walls of the asylum, haunted by the ghosts of those who had been forgotten. They saw things that they could not explain, heard voices that should not have been there. The shadows followed them wherever they went, creeping closer and closer with each passing day. They tried to keep their spirits up, tried to find a way out of the asylum. But it was no use. The curse had taken hold, and they were doomed to spend the rest of their lives in the forgotten asylum. In the end, they realized that they were not alone. There were others, trapped in the same curse, wandering the decaying halls of the asylum. And as the years passed, they became one with the ghosts of the forgotten. They whispered to each other in the darkness, sharing their fears and their hopes. They were lost to the world, trapped in the curse of the forgotten asylum. And there was nothing they could do but wait for the end to come. As the night draws to a close, we bid farewell to the terrors that haunted us and the spine-tingling tales that kept us on the edge of our seats. Remember, the darkness may linger, but the dawn always brings a new light. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and never stop exploring the mysteries of the unknown.